I saw the most recent Dark Phoenix trailer, and since I'm at a stoplight, I'll act out my initial reaction to the trailer. With the exception of maybe 2 or 3 X-Men movies that were, pretty good, I'll say decent, the rest of them have just been kind of mediocre, to me at least. I base that on the fact that we've already seen Fox attempt to tell the Dark Phoenix story, if you want to call it that. I'm speaking of Last Stand. And then, we saw what they did with Age of Apocalypse, which was an atrocious film. So here we have them doing Dark Phoenix. And I gotta say, this movie is probably the biggest movie that no one asked for. I've seen very little positive buzz about this thing. And I think that's because, like I said, the last film was just god-awful. And, we have just been introduced to this cast. And I think we were just introduced to this particular cast in the last film. I could be wrong about that. Point being is that we don't know them well enough. I don't think. We don't know these actors in these roles well enough for them to be taking on one of the most iconic storylines in comic book history. I just don't feel like they've earned the right to be telling this particular story. My personal opinion, why, despite the fact this movie will most likely make money, why it will be scorned and derided like a lot of the X-Men films have been lately, that's because I have to go into history about this. So I was privileged enough to read firsthand the first print issues of all of the X-Men that led up to the Dark Phoenix saga. And this goes back to, I want to say, the mid-70s. There are people out there that know far better than I do. But I believe it was the mid-70s. It was being written by Chris Claremont. Artwork by, to me, the second go-to guy for drawing the X-Men, that being Dave Cockrum. And the story was, I think they went off to, they were in space. I think they went to Magneto's asteroid to fight him. And on the way back, they ran into some sort of cosmic storm, and some cosmic force, the Phoenix Force, broke through the spaceship or the space shuttle. They crashed in Jamaica Bay. Jean Grey, who was about to drown, she rises from the waters like a phoenix with the phoenix costume. Pretty dope. Then my man, John Byrne took over the X-Men. And I just want to say for the record, to this day, I don't think there's ever been a creative team that has topped the creative team on X-Men when Chris Claremont and John Byrne were doing the book. Tom Orzechowski was doing the lettering. John Byrne was inked by Terry Austin. I have yet to see anyone surpass that run. Anyway, that's just my opinion. But the Dark Phoenix storyline continued into that new era. And I want to say that it was like early to mid 80s when classic, iconic issue number, I believe it was 137. It was a double issue. It was entitled Phoenix Must Die. That told the complete storyline. And then she came, I don't want to give anything away in case you haven't read the book. Not saying that the movie is going to take it in the same direction, but I don't want to take any chances. But that complete story arc, I'm sure it was over a year and change. And we're talking 12 plus books. This is back when they printed comic books regularly once a month. So the fact that they think they can wrap this story into one movie, such an iconic storyline into one movie, is a joke to me. And what I don't understand is, why not do it as a trilogy? That would allow them to have us reach into our pockets three times to see 3 movies that would sufficiently span the breadth of this story. But yet and still, they don't get it. They're trying to cram everything into one story, into one film. And again, Sophie Turner, I've only seen her as Jean Grey one time. So I don't know. I don't really feel like she's earned, or the rest of this cast has been in the game long enough, in the X-Men game, let's say, to be telling me this story. I'm still getting to know them. I'll tell you another issue I have with these X-Men films as of late, and it's not even really related to the Dark Phoenix trailer, but you know, the fact that Jennifer Lawrence, who I've kind of cooled on, not because of her acting, but more because of her behavior off the set, she's playing Mystique, and now Mystique is leading the X-Men. I mean, that's just Hollywood cynicism to me. Jennifer Lawrence is a hot actress. We hired her when we didn't know what we had. We hired her to play a villain, and whoa, Jennifer Lawrence is hot now. So that means we got to make her one of the lead characters, and by proxy, Mystique is now a good guy. Now, I don't know if they've changed that in the books to suit what they've done in the films. I don't even know if Mystique is still alive in the books. I stopped reading the books some time ago. But that's just kind of bullshit to me. I'm looking at this thing, and I also see, it looks like they're using some of the same CGI effects that they used in Last Stand, particularly with Jean Grey, though the cracked, glowing cracks on her face when she becomes embodied with the Phoenix Force, I guess. It looks very similar to the effects that we saw with Famke Janssen on The Last Stand, which weren't that impressive, unnecessary. I don't like them because it's not that's not a manifestation of the Phoenix Force per the books, so it's unnecessary. So this trailer, basically what it shows me is that I'm gonna go see this movie, which I am. I'm gonna go see it, if nothing else than to review it. But I'm gonna go see it, and I'm gonna go see a film that, once again, doesn't get it. That's gonna take liberties with the story, and which I understand they have to do. But you might not have to do that if you did this properly and did it in 3 films. I mean, listen, Avengers Endgame, they're telling us that's gonna be 3 hours. Okay, that's 3 hours, and this is already the second part of a 2-part film series. And they're still giving it 3 hours because Marvel gets it. Now, I could get into the theater, be sitting there, and be like, well, you know, this story didn't really need to be 3 hours. But, you know, we got the Russos directing, so I'm going to take them at their word that they need the 3 hours. But I know for a fact that you need more than 2 hours and change to tell the Dark Phoenix story. At minimum, you should be having the Hellfire Club in this film. But we already saw Sebastian Shaw. I believe that was the leader of the Hellfire Club. We already saw him in First Class. And I gotta say, Kevin Bacon killed that role as Sebastian. So I can't be too mad at them that they introduced that character in that film. Apparently, it looks like they killed him in that film. But still, you know, I wouldn't be mad if they brought Sebastian Shaw back and we saw the entire Hellfire Club. We gotta see, what is it, the White Queen, I believe. So I want to see Jean Grey become the Black Queen first, and then she becomes Dark Phoenix. That's the way it's got to go. And this you got to have the Shi'ar in this. What the how many films have we had? We haven't seen Lilandra yet. That's a disgrace. And this is the film where you got to do the Shi'ar. I pronounce it Shi'ar. Is it Shi'ar? Shi'ar is easier to say. So yeah, they're not serious at Fox. They you know, they just money grab, I guess. I don't know. They're not doing it right. And I mean, boy, this seems like just so much nothing when Endgame is on the horizon. I mean, Dark Phoenix, it just seems like something stale. The way they're rolling it out, it just seems stale. But I'll go see it, and you will get my review. As usual, I'll be there. I'll be there to tell you if you should go see it or not. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it, and that's the martini.